Most liked comment gets pinned. Let's see who wins. Good luck.
In the hope that somebody will come along and say, there's money in this, let's support Meghan and her as ever brand.
What sparked it, I thought that was just such a disgrace.
Picture this. A calm California morning, sky barely awake, sunlight sneaking through the windows. The coffee's still hot on the counter inside that massive $14 million Montecito mansion when suddenly Meghan Markle's phone with notifications, pings, flashes, non-stop calls. It's chaos because Tom Bower just dropped a bombshell and everyone's losing it.
I thought she behaved so badly, and Harry too.
And she targeted, there's no doubt she targeted Harry and found someone who was a childhood friend of his who could introduce them.
What he's exposing this time isn't some small royal tidbit. It's big enough to send crisis teams scrambling. Reports say Meghan's been keeping herself locked away, totally out of sight while this storm brews. This isn't your usual royal drama. This is a full-on media earthquake shaking things up right now. But before we dive into what just dropped and why Meghan's reportedly freaking out, hit subscribe, smash that like, and turn on notifications. This story's moving fast. Now let's break down the real deal with Tom Bower.
Right in the book, Harry must be nuts. This is one of the text messages his friends were sending around to each other after Meghan's first introduction to Harry's friends in 2017 during a shooting weekend at Sandringham.
He's no random gossip blogger chasing clicks. This guy's a battle-tested journalist who's spent decades taking on world leaders, billionaires, and global power players. Yeah, including the royal family itself. Bower made his name by saying what others are too scared to whisper. When he sets his sights on someone, the tension skyrockets. He doesn't sugarcoat, doesn't protect reputations. He digs deep until every hidden truth hits daylight.
You can't trust Meghan and Harry. That's the point. Even if you think you've got a deal, and that I don't believe that is possible, but if you think you have, the palace will be shocked that they will renege immediately because they have no advantage of reconciliation. They've got no advantage of ending their vendetta.
His last book, Revenge, Meghan, Harry, and the War Between the Windsors, flipped the royal world upside down. Reactions went wild, headlines exploded, and insiders were reportedly in shock. People are still talking about those claims years later. Most thought that was Bower's big moment, that he'd said it all. But nope, he's gone even deeper this time. And that's saying something considering how much noise his last book made.
It's ludicrous. It's all about her. And this extraordinary interview with Serena Williams, where the first 11 minutes is all about her.
Now he's shining the spotlight on a chapter Meghan probably hoped would stay buried, her early Hollywood grind. Not the glamorous premieres, but the messy, uncertain years of auditions, rejections, and endless hustle. Hollywood's brutal. It takes more than talent to make it. You need timing, backing, and connections that open the right doors. And according to Bower's findings, Meghan's path to fame may not have been as organic as everyone believed. He's revealing claims that certain doors in the industry opened too easily, opportunities appearing out of nowhere, no clear reason why. And that's got entertainment insiders whispering like crazy because this version of her story doesn't match the polished image we've all been sold. Whispers are now swirling about connections Meghan might have leaned on to climb the ladder, the kind that make people question how much was skill versus strategy.
Not about this phenomenal tennis
Serena
champion.
Williams.
I mean, so that's why it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And who'd want to put herself or himself, as always, women. I mean, she does have this strange distrust, I think.
And it doesn't stop there. Bower's sources are spilling more. Stories about people she allegedly left behind during her rise, not stepping on anyone, but still leaving a trail of used-to-be friends and forgotten allies. That's the picture Bower's painting. A woman determined to make it to the top, no matter what it took. According to him, that rise from struggling actress to global icon wasn't the fairy tale it's been made out to be. And get this, Bower didn't just stop with her Hollywood past. Things are about to get even messier.
Professionally, they've gone down dramatically, and I predicted it in the book, but even I would not have thought it'd be that accelerated.
Oh no, Tom Bower didn't just stop there, he dug way deeper. His new claim drops hard, saying Meghan didn't just climb the ladder, she allegedly rewrote parts of her own story to make it all fit perfectly. Once Prince Harry entered the picture, everything flipped. Meeting an actual prince changes everything, and according to Bower, that's when Meghan started reshaping her past, tweaking details, polishing her image, and building this flawless modern princess brand. It's like watching someone rewrite their own movie. One part of Bauer's report even says she reinvented whole sections of her life story.
I think personally, I think they've separated their professional lives, but I think what's really a great problem for them now, as of in the last few weeks.
And these weren't little edits. They were massive, reputation-shifting details. The kind of thing that makes people wonder what's real and what's PR magic. And that's when things got wild. Insiders say Meghan lost it. Full-on meltdown mode. Because Bauer didn't just pull from public records. He had deep, personal info, the kind only close friends could have known. That's when panic hit. She reportedly realized someone from her inner circle had talked. For someone obsessed with controlling her image, that's a nightmare come true. Sources claim Meghan can't stand not being in control. She likes to know who's saying what and how it's being framed. That's been her thing for years. But this time, with Bauer's book, she had zero control.
Is that Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
Right.
The Netflix series is over. There's no great podcast. They don't generate any money. And I don't see where she is going from.
Word is, she even asked her team to find out who might have spoken to him. Old friends, former co-workers, anyone who could have spilled. That's how tense it got. Bauer wasn't tossing random gossip. He had real inside info, the kind that cuts through every PR wall she's built. Meghan's entire journey, from actress to duchess to media brand, is being questioned. And not by tabloids, but by someone with receipts. Imagine it. You spend years crafting your image, shaping every post, every quote, every story, and suddenly someone exposes cracks in the picture-perfect version you sold.
Meghan was warmly welcomed in Britain, that everyone in the royal family tried their very, very hardest to make her feel at home and accommodate her, but that unfortunately Meghan only wanted to be the star and made it impossible for her and the royal family to collaborate.
That's the situation Meghan's facing right now. Her polished, protected image is starting to look fragile, and once the cracks show, it's hard to hide them. And while Meghan's dealing with the heat, let's talk about Harry, because he's definitely not calm either. Ever since rumors of Bauer's book hit, Harry's been spiraling too. Their California fresh start, that dream life they sold, is shaking apart as this book hits the shelves.
She says that she didn't cooperate with Omid Scobie, and she said that she didn't consult anyone in writing the letter to her father.
Their US ventures? Rough to say the least. Remember that hyped Netflix deal? Yeah, not exactly the success everyone expected. Projects got canceled, content fizzled, and let's just say the streaming bosses weren't thrilled. Then came the Spotify fallout. Deal gone, partnership dead, headlines everywhere. It made people start questioning what they're really bringing to the table. And Meghan's latest lifestyle push, the fancy wellness brand idea, insiders say it's struggling, confusion around the message, low buzz, no real momentum, not the empire launch she wanted. Here's the twist. For years, Meghan and Harry preached authenticity, living their truth, and being real.
Probably to serve and be silent. Well, that's the job of the royal family, that they're not there to campaign.
That was their whole brand. From interviews to documentaries, they sold honesty as their identity. But now, Bauer's book is flipping that entire image upside down. He's revealing a side of their story no one's seen, and it's making everyone wonder if that authentic persona was ever real, or just carefully staged from the start. If people start thinking it was all just an act, that's not bad PR. That's a total collapse of the image they built. And the timing? Couldn't be worse. Their California empire is already wobbling, public opinion's cooled off, and now this new book drops spilling every secret they didn't want out. Harry knows exactly how fast this can spiral. He's lived it. One headline turns into 10, then suddenly every move gets picked apart. That's where they are now. Every interview, every public appearance, every quote, all being judged through this new lens. Imagine walking away from the royal world chasing peace and ending up right back in the storm. Only this time, there's no palace team cleaning up the mess. But it's about to get even messier, because Tom Bauer didn't just stop at Meghan's career or image. He's digging into her family, and what he's found? It's personal, uncomfortable, and honestly kind of heartbreaking. For years, we've all heard Meghan's version of her falling out with her dad, Thomas Markle, the staged photos, the media chaos before the wedding, and the total cutoff that followed. That's the story told in interviews and documentaries. But Bauer's saying maybe that's not the full truth. He's asking questions, big ones, about how that relationship really broke down. Questions that don't exactly paint Meghan as the only one hurt in the situation. Because when it comes to controlling a narrative, Meghan's been sharp since day one. And according to insiders, she knew how to frame a story so the world saw her in the best possible light. One insider even said Meghan understood that framing everything was crucial, and if that meant adjusting or skipping certain details, that's what you do. That kind of quote changes everything. Now, no one's saying Thomas Markle was perfect, far from it. But what Bauer's implying is that the story might not be as one-sided as we've been told. There could have been mistakes, and maybe manipulation, from both sides. And here's why that matters. Meghan has built a huge part of her public image around being misunderstood and betrayed by her own family. That story made people feel for her, made fans defend her fiercely. But if cracks start showing in that story, if people start believing parts of it were exaggerated, that sympathetic image could crumble fast. Because once the foundation of your narrative starts shaking, everything on top begins to fall apart. And it's not just about her dad. Bauer's digging into her entire journey. From her struggling Hollywood years to becoming a duchess and now a global celebrity, he's asking how much of that transformation was real and how much was strategically built. Let's be honest, building a public persona takes serious skill. You've got to know what to say, when to say it, and how to sell it. And by what's being revealed now, Meghan might have mastered that art a little too well. The book isn't even officially out yet, but the damage is already spreading. Social media's on fire, comment sections overflowing, viral threads everywhere, people re-watching her old interviews like detectives. They're comparing clips from years ago to what Bauer's exposing now, and the inconsistencies are stacking up side by side. It's turning into a digital deep dive. And once people start questioning everything you've ever said, that spotlight only gets hotter. Comparisons are everywhere right now. Clips, posts, timelines. People are noticing things that don't line up, details that change depending on who's asking the questions. And here's the shocking twist. It's not just her critics anymore. Even some of Meghan's former defenders, the ones who always flooded comment sections with love and loyalty, are suddenly silent. Those same fans who once praised her every move are now asking, wait, how much of this was real? Did she actually live through all that, or was it polished up? That's bad news, because when the people who once believed in you start doubting your story, the foundation starts cracking fast. And across the pond, the British press is going wild. Headlines everywhere, tabloids screaming about secrets revealed and the Duchess exposed. It feels like the early scandal days again, but this time, it's way deeper. Because now, we're not talking rumors. There's real detail, names, context. The UK media has been waiting for this moment, and they're not holding back. Article after article, dissecting every piece of Tom Bauer's book, twisting and analyzing every paragraph. It's a feeding frenzy. Meanwhile, inside that $14 million Montecito mansion, things are tense. Staff reportedly walking on eggshells, unsure what might set off the next explosion. The atmosphere, heavy, stress levels, through the roof. PR teams are in overdrive, phones buzzing non-stop, emergency calls happening all day. Meetings are popping up by the hour, everyone scrambling to figure out how to manage this avalanche. But here's the thing, when someone like Bauer drops a book this detailed, damage control can only go so far. Insiders say Meghan's been telling friends she feels under attack. She's overwhelmed, cornered, and genuinely shaken, like she hasn't felt in years. This isn't some wild tabloid exaggeration. These are reports backed by actual details that hit her image right where it hurts. For someone who spent years crafting a flawless public identity, having it ripped apart piece by piece is brutal. Once people start doubting one part of your story, they start doubting everything. Now let's pull back that curtain and peek inside the mansion when the news broke. It wasn't pretty. Picture it. Early morning, sun barely up, and Meghan's phone lighting up non-stop. Notifications exploding, calls and texts flooding in. Friends trying to warn her about what's coming. According to insiders, the second she realized what Bauer had exposed, she lost it. Panic mode instantly kicked in. Publicists and crisis managers called in within minutes. Phones ringing off the hook. Emergency meetings forming in real time. It was pure chaos. One source said Meghan was pacing the floor, nearly in tears, repeating, "How could he possibly know all that?" Shocked, shaken, completely blindsided by how personal the revelations were. Because these weren't public facts or recycled stories. They were private. The kind of things only people close to her could know. And that's what hit hardest. Realizing that someone from her inner circle, maybe even multiple people, had opened up to Bauer. These were people she trusted, people she thought would never talk. That sense of betrayal? It's the kind of sting that doesn't fade easy. One insider described it like watching someone realize their fortress wasn't as strong as they thought. The walls she'd spent years building around her image now showing cracks everywhere. She built her image like a fortress, every post, every quote, every polished detail. Yet somehow information's still leaking out. But Tom Bauer didn't stop with the Hollywood hustle or family feuds. He dug deeper into places that make things seriously uncomfortable. Childhood memories, college days, early career moves, nothing was off limits. And what he found is making people question how real that carefully shaped version of Meghan truly is. Sources from her Northwestern University days say the Meghan they knew back then was nothing like the one the public sees today, not just in fame or fortune, but in how she described her past. They're claiming the stories she told about her upbringing and early struggles don't exactly match the memories of people who were actually there. That's a scary thought, because when the foundation of your story doesn't line up, it only takes one person speaking up for the whole thing to unravel. And that's exactly what Meghan's been dreading, losing control of her own narrative. After years of perfecting her image, she's now facing what every public figure fears most: the past catching up and rewriting itself in front of everyone. Here's where it gets wild. Bauer's book is packed with details too precise to come from public info alone. We're talking private conversations, personal accounts, even behind-the-scenes moments no one outside her circle could know. That means someone talked, and maybe more than one person. Now the guessing game has turned into full-blown chaos. Some insiders think it was former royal staff, people who allegedly felt ignored or mistreated during the palace years and finally wanted their side heard. Others whisper it could be old Hollywood connections, friends or colleagues who felt forgotten once Meghan's star took off. But here's the rumor that's really exploding. What if someone from her own family cooperated with Bauer? Just that possibility is enough to shake anyone who's built their brand on controlling the narrative. And every time this topic comes up, one name keeps echoing: Thomas Markle, Meghan's dad. No one knows for sure if he actually talked, but the level of detail Bauer includes about their family dynamics has people wondering, who else could know all that so precisely? Who else lived those exact moments? Insiders say Meghan's been spiraling over that thought, calling people, asking questions, trying to figure out if her father really was one of the sources. Because if that turns out to be true, if her own dad shared private stories with a journalist, that's not just betrayal, that's a deep personal wound. And just when it couldn't get worse, there's Samantha Markle, her half-sister. Right as Bauer's book started trending, she's been online posting cryptic comments, thanking certain people for finally telling the truth. You don't need a detective badge to read between those lines. So while Meghan's racing to uncover who leaked what, there's someone else caught right in the middle. Prince Harry, and sources say he's torn to pieces. On one hand, he wants to defend Meghan, furious that another round of drama is hitting them again. But on the other hand, he's exhausted, because every few months, it's something new. Another book, another tell-all, another wave of headlines. Harry left the UK chasing peace, hoping California would mean calm days and quiet nights. Instead, it's turned into a never-ending carousel of chaos, and this time, it's spinning faster than ever. Insiders say the atmosphere inside that Montecito mansion is ice cold, tension thick in the air, stress hanging over every room. When your past keeps getting dug up and people start questioning everything about you, the pressure doesn't just fade, it crushes you, and sadly, it's not slowing down. Word is, more documentaries are being pitched, more writers digging for their own truth about Meghan's Hollywood rise. It's like the floodgates burst open and now everyone wants a piece of the story. For someone who's spent years mastering her public image, watching it slip away must feel like watching glass shatter in slow motion. The past she worked so hard to bury? It's crawling back, piece by piece, and she can't stop it. Everything Meghan spent years building, every polished quote, every heartfelt interview, every curated detail, it's unraveling faster than anyone thought possible. And when your brand is built on a perfect image, those cracks aren't small. They become everything. People aren't just questioning one event or one decision anymore. They're questioning it all. Every speech about authenticity, every carefully worded statement, now being replayed and dissected like never before. And her reputation? Hanging by the thinnest thread. Think about it. She went from being a global powerhouse, adored and celebrated, to facing headlines that won't stop tearing at her story. Those glamorous partnerships, her big-name projects, her entire influence machine. It's all being re-examined through a completely new lens. But here's the real twist. Meghan's toughest battle right now isn't Tom Bauer. It's not the British press, or the critics online picking apart her every move. Her real fight is with something way bigger, something she can't spin or silence. It's her past, or at least the version of her past that's now being pieced together by others. Because no matter how powerful your PR team is, no matter how fast you release statements or try to reshape the narrative, if the foundation of your story doesn't fully match reality, there's only so much you can patch up. And right now, that foundation seems to be shaking hard. The version of her life she's worked to reshape, to fit the fairy tale, isn't staying quiet. It's pushing back, resurfacing in fragments, stories, and secrets that refuse to stay buried. Maybe that's the truth about image control. No matter how tight you lock it down, eventually the cracks start showing, and the truth finds a way out. So what happens next? Can she rebuild from this? Can her brand bounce back stronger? Or is this the beginning of the end for the perfectly curated Meghan Markle image? What do you think? Has her story finally caught up with her, or is there still a comeback left in her? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this deep dive made you see things differently, make sure you hit subscribe, tap like, and share it, because this saga, it's far from over.